Madison applied cream to her hands before bed, as she did every night. At 42, she had developed an impeccable routine to keep her skin free of visible wrinkles. In front of the oval mirror in her bedroom, she contemplated her reflection. Her dark brown hair fell in soft layers down to her shoulders, framing green eyes that, despite the years, still held a dreamy sparkle. The women's clothing store she had been managing for 8 years was located in the small shopping center of the town. Madison had built her business from scratch, investing all her savings from working as a manager in a department store. Every piece she sold was personally chosen during trips she made to fashion centers. For her, every customer deserved to feel special. Every morning, Madison opened the store with the same enthusiasm as the first day. The gentle aroma of a lavender diffuser mixed with the scent of new clothes. The racks, organized by colors, formed a rainbow that invited customers to touch the fabrics. Small details like personalized packaging and coffee for the customers while they tried on the pieces made the store a welcoming place. Despite her professional success, Madison felt an emptiness. Her previous relationships had been brief and shallow. She kept photos from her teenage years in a drawer of her dresser when she dreamed of the Prince Charming her mother had promised her in bedtime stories. A silver picture frame remained empty on the bedside table, waiting for the wedding photo she still imagined having. It was on an autumn Thursday that Gabriel entered her store, tall with black hair carefully tousled and a smile that seemed to light up the room. Madison was organizing the new collection when he approached, saying he was looking for a gift for his mother. Something elegant yet comfortable, he explained with a voice that was like velvet to her ears. She always complains that pretty clothes are uncomfortable. Madison helped him choose a navy blue cashmere set. While wrapping the gift, she noticed Gabriel watching her with genuine interest, asking questions about the store, about how she had started the business. The age difference, he was 25 as she later discovered, didn't seem to matter when they talked. "Can I invite you for a coffee?" he asked after paying for the purchase to thank you for your help. That coffee turned into dinner the following week, and in less than a month, they were officially dating. Madison felt alive again. With Gabriel, she rediscovered the city where she had lived for years. Walks in the park at sunset, movies on Sunday afternoons, small restaurants she had never noticed. "I've never met anyone like you," he would say, holding her hands over the table. "You have so much life in your eyes." Lucy, her childhood friend in the shop's accountant, was the first to show concern. "Don't you think you're going a bit too fast?" she asked while they were reviewing the monthly bills. "You barely know him, Madison." "When it's right, you just know," Madison replied, saving yet another picture on her phone of Gabriel smiling. It was during a picnic by the lakeside with the sun setting on the horizon that Gabriel knelt down. The blue velvet box in his hands held a delicate ring with a small pearl. "It's not the diamond you deserve," he said with his eyes lowered. "But I promise that one day I'll give you everything you deserve." Madison did not hesitate to say yes. Less than 6 months after they met, she announced her engagement to friends and family. The wedding was set for 2 months later, a simple ceremony in the garden of the house she had bought 3 years earlier. Charlie, her older brother, was the most direct. "Do you know what he does for a living? Where does his money come from? Where did he live before?" "He's a freelancer, works in graphic design," Madison defended. "He's building his client portfolio." Not everyone has their life figured out at 25. On the wedding day, the garden was decorated with lanterns and white flowers. Madison wore a simple yet elegant ivory dress. Her friends were present, albeit with restrained smiles. Gabriel was radiant in his gray suit. When they exchanged rings, Madison felt that her life was finally complete. In the first few weeks, married life seemed perfect. Gabriel cooked for her, massaged her feet after a long day at the store, and surprised her with little love notes scattered around the house. It was then that he suggested helping her with the business. "I have experience with management," he said, showing a diploma from an online course. "I can take care of the suppliers, the payments. You already work so much, my love." Madison saw this as an opportunity to spend more time with her husband. Gradually, Gabriel took over the store's finances. He talked to suppliers, negotiated deadlines, and handled employee payments. Madison could focus on what she loved most, attending to customers and selecting new pieces. "We need to modernize," suggested Gabriel after 3 months. "Invest in digital marketing, renovate the store's interior." Madison agreed, although the investments were beyond what she had planned. Gabriel insisted it was necessary and that they would see the return shortly. To make management easier, he suggested they turn their bank accounts into joint accounts. "We're a couple now," he argued. "There shouldn't be a division between mine and yours." The first suspicion arose when Madison noticed a different perfume on Gabriel's shirt. He explained that he had visited a department store to research trends. A week later, she found a message on his phone from someone named Brenda. "Who is Brenda?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm. "A client," he quickly replied. "She is interested in a design job for her company." But coincidences began to pile up. Gabriel arriving late, calls he took while moving away from her, excuses that were becoming less convincing. Until one day, Madison followed him after he left the house in a hurry, claiming he had an important meeting. The cafe he entered was small and cozy. Through the window, Madison saw Gabriel embrace a young blonde woman and kiss her with familiarity. They chatted animatedly, like old acquaintances. The girl couldn't have been more than 25 years old. That night when Gabriel arrived, Madison was already waiting for him in the living room with her phone in hand, showing pictures she had taken from the meeting. "How long?" she asked, her voice trembling. Gabriel did not deny it. Brenda was his ex-girlfriend, he explained. They had broken up before he met Madison, but they had recently reconnected. "It was a mistake," he said. "It won't happen again." But Madison knew that trust once broken was like a shattered mirror, impossible to fully restore. After nights of arguments, she filed for divorce. Gabriel reacted with fury, then with pleas, and finally with veiled threats. "You won't get rid of me that easily," he said during one of their last arguments. "We are partners in the store, remember?" The following weeks were chaotic. Gabriel practically moved to the couch in the living room, refusing to leave the house. Madison slept with her door locked, physically and emotionally exhausted. At the store, they kept up appearances, though the employees noticed the tension. On a Thursday morning, Madison woke up to her phone ringing insistently. It was Lucy, her accountant. "Madison, I'm getting calls from the suppliers. They say they have invoices overdue by 2 months and the employees called me. They didn't receive their salaries yesterday." Feeling a knot in her stomach, Madison tried to access the bank account through the app, but the password had been changed. She then noticed that Gabriel wasn't home, nor had he left a note. His clothes were still in the closet, but his backpack and some personal belongings were gone. She quickly got dressed and drove to the bank, her heart racing. When she entered, the branch manager, Austin Parker, called her to his desk. Austin was a man in his 40s with gray hair at the temples and kind eyes behind thin-rimmed glasses. He always treated her with respect and attention. "Mrs. Madison," he said with a worried expression, "your husband just left here. He emptied the account." The words hit Madison like a punch. Her legs weakened, and she had to lean on the table. "What do you mean emptied the account?" she asked, her voice almost fading. Austin explained that Gabriel had withdrawn all the money from their joint accounts, both personal and from the store, shortly before she arrived. Since the accounts were in both of their names, he legally had the right to access them. "I forgot," Madison murmured more to herself than to Austin. "With everything going on with the divorce, I forgot to switch the accounts back to my name." Back at the store, Madison faced reality: no working capital, accumulated debts, and unpaid employees. She gathered the small team and explained the situation, promising she would find a solution. She managed to negotiate installment payments for the salaries, but the suppliers were inflexible. No payment would mean the collection of goods. In less than a month, the store's colorful racks were empty. Madison put a sign on the door, "Closed for renovations." But she knew it wouldn't reopen. Her lawyer explained that she could sue Gabriel for embezzlement, but it would be a long process with no guarantee of recovering the money. At home, Madison faced the nights alone, looking at the piling bills. The silver picture frame now held a torn photo, only her half visible. One day while sorting through things to sell to pay off the most urgent debts, the phone rang. It was Austin, the bank manager. "Mrs. Madison, I called to inform you that the debt renegotiation has been approved. I've also been thinking about your situation," he said. "We have an opening in the bank's administrative sector. With your management experience, I believe you'd be perfect for the position. Would you like to apply?" The opportunity came like a ray of sunshine after the storm. Madison attended the interview the following week and was hired. The salary was lower than what she earned with the store, but it offered stability. Gradually, she began to reorganize her life. At the bank, Madison quickly earned the respect of her colleagues with her dedication and knowledge. Austin frequently sought her opinion on issues related to small business owners, valuing her experience. After work, they sometimes grabbed coffee at the nearby diner, talking about work, books, and movies. "You are adapting well," he remarked one afternoon. "It's impressive how you can smile even after everything." "I have my moments," Madison confessed. "But becoming bitter won't bring my money back, nor my store." Over time, the after-work coffees turned into occasional dinners. Austin had been a widower for 5 years, having lost his wife to a degenerative disease. He had a daughter in college and lived alone in a tidy apartment filled with books. He was a quiet man who spoke softly and listened attentively. On a rainy night, when Austin drove her home after dinner, Madison invited him in for tea. Sitting on the covered porch, watching the rain fall in the garden, they talked about old dreams and new possibilities. "You know what I've learned?" she said, looking at the droplets running down the window. "That starting over doesn't mean erasing the past. It means building something new from it." Austin smiled, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding. That night, when he said goodbye, he kissed her gently on the lips, a shy, respectful kiss full of unspoken promises. The months passed. Madison was promoted to administrative supervisor. With the new salary, she managed to pay off the remaining debts of the store. Gradually, her relationship with Austin blossomed based on mutual respect and genuine admiration. One Saturday afternoon, almost 2 years after the disaster with Gabriel, Madison was tidying up the improvised office she maintained at home when she found a box with the last items from the store she owned, the stamp with the store's logo, personalized tags, the customer registry book. She sat on the floor, flipping through the book, recalling the names, the faces. The sound of the doorbell interrupted her memories. It was Austin with a bouquet of daisies, her favorite flowers, simple and cheerful, as she had mentioned once. "I thought we could have a picnic," he suggested, showing a basket he was carrying. "The park is beautiful at this time." In the park, sitting on a checkered blanket, Austin served sandwiches he had prepared himself, fresh fruit, and a bottle of white wine. As they ate, he talked about a new bank program to support small entrepreneurs. "In fact, it was inspired by you," he confessed. "Your knowledge of the challenges of running a small business made us rethink how we can better support our clients." Madison smiled, touched by his thoughtfulness. It was then that Austin pulled a small carved wooden box from his pocket. "This is not a ring," he explained as Madison opened the box. "Not yet. It is a key." Inside the box was a golden key with a small leaf-shaped pendant. "It's the key to a commercial space," Austin continued. "In the same center where your old store was, the previous tenant gave up, and the owner, who is a client of the bank, is offering special conditions for a new tenant. I thought maybe you would like to start over." Madison looked at the key, then at Austin, speechless. "The bank has a line of credit for small business owners with an entrepreneurial history," he explained. "You qualify perfectly and I believe in you, Madison." The tears came inevitable. They weren't tears of sadness or regret, but of gratitude and renewed hope. "You don't have to decide now," added Austin, holding her hands. "It's just a possibility like us." On the horizon, the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Madison squeezed the key in her hand, feeling its weight, its potential. She looked at Austin, his kind eyes, his sincere smile, the patience with which he had waited for her to heal. "I think I'm ready," she finally said, "for both." That night, upon returning home, Madison placed the key next to the silver picture frame on her bedside table. In the picture frame, there was a new photo. She and Austin smiling during a walk in the park, the wind tousling their hair, their eyes shining with the promise of a shared future. Life, Madison thought as she fell asleep, was like a bank account. Some make withdrawals that leave us empty. Others make deposits that enrich us. The difference lay in knowing whom to trust with the key to your heart.